What's going on, guys? It is the RPO podcast. We are back live, and I'm super excited because we have a great show for you two guys today. But before we get into that, I'm your humble host, Jerome Jones. We got my man Ray Roberts in the building. What's going on, Ray?
I'm good, Jerome. How are you?
I'm super excited because we are officially 7 days, well, inside the hash is at least, to go into the Senior Bowl. We're going to the Senior Bowl next week. We'll be there on Wednesday. Senior Bowl week actually starts on Monday. We're super excited to go down there. We got a good gang of people going down there. We're going to be doing the draft coverage. Senior Bowl coverage next week. So make sure you check that out on here as well. But we're super excited to go down there, even though there's going to be some turmoil and some changes and things that are going to be different for us because of obviously COVID-19. Won't have that face-to-face interviews with the players like we have been the last 2 years. But we're super excited for what we are able to do, and we're just happy to at least have some kind of Senior Bowl. So that's what we're going to be talking about today is a lot of the Senior Bowl players that's going to be down there. We're going to do some evaluations where we think about them and the draft process, where we think they might go. Give an insight of, how we think they're going to perform this week. And we're just going to go straight down the list, right? So are you excited, Ray?
Yep, always, man. Always excited to talk football.
Oh, yeah. Love it. We love it. So we're going to go straight down the list, man, because I want to go right through this. And what me and Ray's going to do is going to shout out a couple of players that we are excited to see down there. But before we get into that, we have two breaking news before we start concerning the Senior Bowl. So about 3 or 4 days ago, it was announced that Devontae Smith, wide receiver, Heisman winning trophy, not I was about to say finalist, but he actually won it, winner. He is going to be at the Senior Bowl. Now he did get injured at the championship game, so he would not be participating in any drills, or any practices, or actually in a game. But he will be down there for interviews. He's going to be interviewing with teams and things like that. So Ray, what do you think about that news? Although he's not playing, do you think it's a good idea that he's even down there at all, just to get his face up there, or should he just rehabbing, getting ready for the next season?
A little bit both. I think that staying away from people is probably the thing you should do right now. But I do appreciate the fact that he wants to get in here and talk to coaches and represent Alabama. That's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that part of it, of course. So
for sure. And Mobile is not too far from Alabama. He's close anyway, so he's not that far from proximity. And then the next guy, teammate of Devonta Smith, is Naji Harris, which just got announced about an hour before we got on live. So I didn't have a chance to really dive deep into how that's gonna look with the rosters and everything like that. But that's really exciting news because a lot of people wanted to see how he does against a lot of big competition. He's a bigger running back, so we wanted to see how he does. What do you think about that news, Ray?
Again, I'm glad that he's going to be there. I don't really think he has a lot to prove. He did not have a great game in the championship game, but I kind of think that we talked last week about how Ohio State's defense dictated that they were going to try to shut down the run and probably cost them. I'm not going to say it cost them the game, but it cost them the fact that they gave up 50 points in the game by playing that type of a defense. So,
yeah. Yeah, it was a throw in the air kind of game. So Naji Harris didn't get a lot of running attempts, but he did get a lot of passing attempts, which was good for him because I think his running really didn't have much to be evaluated after that. He ran a lot the last 2 years. I think that this coming into this year, it was more about his passing game, catching the ball out of the back row, and I think he did a lot of that this year, including the championship game. So. Maybe showing a little bit more of that in the Senior Bowl, showing, hey, I could do this with anybody. It's not just my offensive line that, making me look good. Because I think that could be a factor into it, too, because Alabama have a really good offensive line. That's undeniably a thing. So with him being in front of a different line that's maybe not as good as the Alabama offensive line, we're going to see how he plays out there. So I think that's the benefit of it, right?
I think that you're going to see that Naji Harris is one of the best players in college football, and it doesn't really matter who the line is in front of him. Again,
Yeah.
like you said, he did go out this year and catch more passes than he had previously. But he showed you that this kid runs hard. He's athletic. He can catch the ball. He can do everything. I mean, he's going to be, if he's not taken like end of first round, he's going to be taken very early in the second round. So
yeah, he's not going to survive long in the second round. He's going to be in that
pick number 36.
Yeah, in Miami, right?
Exactly.
I figured, I was like, so it was some reason why Ray knew that number. It had to be some reason Ray knew that specific number. There was no other reason.
Yep. I mean, I had visions of having another running back, and Najee Harris fits the bill. Miami has some okay backs. You know, Miles Gaskin, who is a slasher type guy. They need a more physical guy who can impose their wills. Then he will even be better also. Add that to a Najee Harris, man, and you're talking about a great 1-2 punch. So I'm looking forward to it.
You could tell that Miami was looking for something like that when they signed Howard. It was like, all right, we got ourselves our bigger guy that can get in there. Obviously, you know, Howard didn't pan out this year, so Najee Harris would be a perfect fit for you guys.
Yeah, Howard was horrible. I mean, I don't want to get too much into the pro football. I mean, he is just one of them guys that, man, he had a nice 3 or 4 or 5 year career, and he's done now. You know, so
for sure. So let's get into the Senior Bowl now, right? So we're gonna start off with some guys that you would like to see. So you give me a player, we'll talk about him, and then I'll give you a player, and I'll talk about that player. So let's get right into this Senior Bowl draft coverage. Starts now. Let's go.
Well, I'm going to give you a couple running backs. I'm going to give you Michael Carter from North Carolina. I like Michael Carter a lot. I think he's a very versatile type player. I didn't like the fact that he didn't play in the bowl game, but I think that he did that. And, yeah, man, we gave these guys the out. If they didn't feel comfortable playing, if they wanted to just get ready for the draft, then go ahead. And it's a shame because North Carolina struggled in that last game. So, but I like Michael Carter. I think he's a good player.
He's not a good player. I think that, you know, he's one of those smaller backs, that the little scat back, smaller guys that you can get in the backfield. He's like the opposite of what you have in the Naji Harris. He does catch the ball out of the backfield. I think that's one of his strong suits as well. What player would you kind of compare him to, Ray?
Maybe a little bit like. Not exactly the same type as, you know, with who am I thinking of right now?
What team you play for?
He played for the Eagles and the same, you know, like kid from, I always forget his name. I'm not great with names for him. Really? Scott? Was that Boston Scott? Is a good comparison. Boston Scott was who I was thinking of. Okay. I just think that as a receiver or that type of a player, I mean, I think he's got a little bit more juice than Boston Scott, though. Yeah. Body type, probably a little bit faster, I think. Mm-hmm. But I mean, like, not exactly my type of a running back. But I mean, I like him. Yeah. I think he can do some stuff on third downs for you. But the other running back I really want to see, and it's only because he got hurt, is Trey Sermon from Ohio State. Can't wait to see if he's healthy and how he looks if he plays in this game at all. So
yeah, I don't remember his actual injury. I'm gonna actually look it up. I believe it was his ribs, if I'm not mistaken, his ribs or his back. If anybody in the comment section know what his injury was, please let us know. But yeah, he got injured in the championship game, so you know that is like a week and a half before the Senior Bowl, maybe 2 weeks. So he might not be fully recovered. So I honestly don't expect him to play. I was definitely looking forward to him playing though. Trey Sermon from Ohio State had very good vision, quick, elusive running back. I liked how he played. He was definitely the catalyst at the toward the end of the season for Ohio State, and he definitely helped them win the last couple of games with Justin's such a field with his struggles down the
Yeah,
stretch.
he played really well, except for like getting hurt in that last game.
Yeah,
And I also like Kylan Hill from Mississippi State. Nice slashy type of a back, a little Curtis Martin juice in him. Not a fast guy, but a quick guy, short space type of a guy. I like him a lot.
definitely. He was somebody. I mean, he was one of those guys that actually started the season with Mississippi State. He opted out about game 3 or 4, I think, if I'm not mistaken. He opted out pretty early in the season, and then as soon as he got out the lineup, you could tell Mississippi State missed him a lot because they started losing a lot of games, especially after that game against LSU. It's looking like, man, they cannot be stopped, and then they started slowing down. You could see the scheme started unraveling for them, and then once he opted out, it didn't make things easier for them because they were trying to incorporate him in the passing game as well. So I'm definitely curious to see how he does in the Senior Bowl as well. Ray, you got any other running backs?
Well, no, that's pretty much. I covered most of the running backs. I mean, I like Javonte Williams from North Carolina also. But again, I mean, they all, the North Carolina players kind of leave a bad taste in my mouth because they kind of like opt out on our team. So, I mean, but again, we gave them the option, and again, why these guys should never be treated as professionals because they're not professional. That's why they're getting ready to be a professional now. So,
Definitely. So one of the running backs that I wanted to see going down there just got added to the roster about a couple of days ago as well. Is Chris Evans from Michigan. Yes, he's a Michigan guy. I'm gonna throw my Michigan guys in there. Sorry, guys, it's just how it's gonna be. But the reason why I'm saying this is because Chris Evans had a very promising career in his I believe it's his sophomore year. You could see that like some promise within him. The year after that, he got suspended for the entire year for some off the field stuff and academic reasons. And then he coming into last year, he came into a rotation, so he didn't get a lot of opportunities with that. And with Michigan only playing, I think they only play like 6 games or something like that. We played a total of six games. We had a terrible year. New quarterback, offensive line was completely new. So he didn't get a lot of touches. It was behind a lot, so it was a lot of passing. So he's one of the guys that I'm intrigued by because, like I said, he had a promising career. He had some academic issues that he had to be out for the entire year. And then he came into a running back rotation, which I don't blame him for. So this is one of the guys I want to see. I want to see how he responds in the Senior Bowl after having that type of year for him.
Mm-hmm. I like him too. I think he's just a good, solid football player. I actually like Ben Mason, Michigan's fullback, but I'm a fullback type of a guy, so you know how it is.
Yeah, they're a dying breed out there. But there are some good ones. I mean, some of the teams that have good ones, there are good ones out there. One San Fran, Kansas City has a good one. Just to name a few. I think the Ravens have a good one. So when they do use them, they are usually good fullbacks. And nowadays you need fullbacks that can kind of do anything, like utility fullbacks. Do a little blocking, can run the ball a little bit on goal line, can catch the ball out of the backfield sometimes from here to there. So when you do have a fullback, you kind of want to use them like that, so you can have some versatility in your offense. But let's get to some tight ends. I mean, I think this year's class in general is a very weak class. So Ray, give me like one or two guys that you think you would like to see down there.
Well, I think I talked to you last week about I'm a Hunter Long guy from Boston College. I like him. I think he's a good versatile player. He's got good size. He's 6'5", 250. He's I like him a lot. He's probably of the group of guys that are going to the Senior Bowl. he may be my favorite.
Really?
So, yeah.
Nice, nice. I heard, I don't know much about this tight end too much, but I heard a lot about Kenny Yaboa
Mississippi.
from Ole Miss. I heard that he's one of the guys that people are gonna have their eye on going down there, and I'm very intrigued by it because his measurables look really well. I think he was 6'5" or something like that, but like I heard he runs really fast. So, Ole Miss been producing some athletic tight ends, so I'm very intrigued in seeing how he does down there.
He's, you know what it is though. I think that he's not as complete a player as Hunter Long. I think Hunter Long is a solid blocker too.
Yeah.
Well, I think Bo is more of an H-back type of a kid, so.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's get to the wide receivers. This is probably the deepest, not only in the NFL draft, but at the Senior Bowl. Got some really, really big names in there. Ray, you got a couple that you want to speak out for me?
Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of the wide receivers that are going to be. I told you last week I like Nico Collins from Michigan a lot. I've seen some mock drafts where they have him going in the third round, which I think is a little high. Not that I don't like him, because I do, but his production wasn't great. So
yeah, exactly. Not much to see on tape. Not much to see on tape.
Yeah, so I mean, I like him. I think he'll definitely get drafted. I just probably wouldn't take him till like the fourth round myself. Mm-hmm. But if he goes to the third round, man, I think you're going to get a good player. So, it is what it is. I like Amari Rodgers from Clemson. I think he's a versatile kid who can play some slot, can do some things outside. Probably one of the guys I like. He's very versatile. And I think I told you this before, too. I like Kadarius Toney from Florida. Yeah. I think that's a playmaker, man. He's electric, man. He's got some juice to him. So
I believe that he's definitely going to make the second round. He's not going. I don't think he's going to make it outside the second round.
No, I don't think so either. He's going to look good in the Dolphins uniform, man. He's coming home, brother.
Definitely. I mean, like we already talked about, Devontae Smith is listed on here. He won't be actually playing. Dwayne Ridge from West Virginia. I mean, sorry, not West Virginia. Western Michigan. He's an intriguing player. He's really small, but he's electric. Kind of remind me of a Trayvon Austin, but I think he's going to be better than Trayvon Austin. I think he's a lot faster, more polished in his route running. What do you think about him, Ray?
I agree with you that his route running is better than Trayvon. Trayvon Austin was fast, man. He just couldn't run around.
Yeah.
His route was horrible. He just float out there. I mean, like, you can't, when you run routes, man, you can't drift.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't just like you can't run sloppy routes. Not in the NFL.
Not in the NFL.
Right. I think this kid will run better routes. He'll get open more consistently. I like him a little better than Trayvon Austin. So
definitely.
I think he's good.
One of those receivers that you can use in a lot of gadget formations and things like that as well. Put him in a slot, put him outside, put him in motion, get him some running plays, things like that.
Absolutely. And I like Ben Scaronick from Notre Dame too. I mean, of course, he's a Notre Dame guy. I mean, he's a day 3 pick. He's a 4th round type of a guy. And he's only going to be a possession guy, but he did a lot of good things for Notre Dame. He's a good blocker. He'll catch the ball. He's a good point of the ball, like attacking the ball at the catch radius. He's good at that type of things. But again, I don't think any of these guys. I think Rodgers, of the guys that I see here on my list of guys going to the Senior Bowl, I think Rodgers, I think Kadarius Toney, I think they're more like day 2 picks. Or the other guys we just mentioned are like day 3 picks. So
yeah. Everybody else that's actually at the Senior Bowl are more, scheme fit, your preference kind of receivers. You could get some guys that kind of emerge out of there to be good receivers for you down the stretch. But like you said, Toney and Rodgers, Amari Rodgers is going to be the cream of the crop in the Senior Bowl. So let's get to everybody's favorite position, the quarterback position. We got some really big names that are in there: Kellen Mond, Sam Ellenger, Ian Book, Ray's guy from Notre Dame, Kyle Trask, Felipe Franks, Jamie Newman, and Matt Brown, who he's going to have he had a really good game in the championship game. So Ray, out of those names, who stands out to you the most?
Well, Matt Brown will probably get drafted before the other guys because of how well he played at Alabama this year. But I think that Kyle Trask is probably a better player than him. I do. I don't think either one of them should be first round picks.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that Trask is probably a little bit better than the kid from Alabama. But I'll be honest with you, I like Kellermond a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's an athletic kid. He has a solid arm. I don't think he's a day 3 pick, I think. I don't think he's going to be taken before the 4th round. I don't. But as a nice developmental type of a guy, I think where he could be a nice guy who comes in and I don't know about win games for you, but at least back up somewhere. So,
Correct. And honestly, I think Kellen Mond might have a sneakily good game in the Senior Bowl because you might have some play breakdowns, things might not go down. And when those kind of plays, and again, in Senior Bowl, you got you got NFL coaches, things like that, but it doesn't always pan out with, them only training for like a week. And with the way the pandemic is, it's going to be a lot more restrictions on everything with that. So I think, there's going to be a lot more unscripted plays. And I think that's where Kellen Mond is probably going to shine the most with those unscripted plays. But one of the guys that I'm intrigued with watching, I mean, you got your Kyle Trask down there. You got Mac Jones. Those 2 players are going to have all the hype down there. But the 2 other players that I really want to see is Jamie Newman. Obviously, he didn't play at Wake Forest. Another athletic quarterback. He didn't get a lot of play time since he opted out. Didn't even get touched the field for Wake Forest. So he's one of the guys that I'm really intrigued to seeing. And then Sam Ellenger. I mean, he has probably the most up and down season this year with the Longhorns. I really want to see how he fares with some NFL coaching, right?
I mean, I agree. I think we talked about both of them guys, Jamie Newman and Ellenger last week. I think Ellenger is the kind of guy that people are going to like his attitude. Mm-hmm. I'm not pretty sure he should be a quarterback, but I think someone will think they can turn him into something. Jamie Newman actually was supposed to play for Georgia this year and then opted out.
Oh, that's what it was, Georgia. I'm sorry, Georgia.
Yeah, so, I mean, I like Jamie Newman. I think athletically he offers a lot. His arm worries me. His arm talent is not great. His arm strength is about average. But I think he'll find somebody who thinks they can fix him, kind of like Sam Ellenger. I think Ellenger probably, out of these groups of guys, except for Mac Jones, I think if I had to rate them in order of they're going to be drafted, I would say Jones, Trask, and then Ellenger. But I think that Kyle Trask will probably be the best of these guys. As long as they go to the right team. I mean, that's what you got to remember. With quarterback, it matters what team you go to. It matters the supporting cast. It matters what coach you go with.
Yep.
Some of these guys don't succeed because they go to bad teams and they're not coached well. Let's face it, man.
No, you're right. You're completely right. And, they need to get that. They need to have good receivers and they have, protection in front of them to help them out, the coaching and things like that. But to get into the protection part of that, we got the offensive line. So we're going to go, we're going to get everybody in the offensive line as an entire group. There is a lot of offensive linemen since there are 5 positions in that line. So you got like a whole bunch of them. But, Ray, there's some guys that stands out to you. I know there's one particular or 2 or 3 particular guys that I really like that's going to go in the first 2 rounds. But who you got, Ray?
I like probably Spencer Brown from Northern Iowa a lot. I think he's going to be a starting caliber offensive tackle. I think he, again, went to a little bit of a smaller school, but I think he's going to be a really good player. I don't think there's anybody who is great, but I like everybody here. I like Ben Cleveland from Georgia a little bit, even though he played guard. Mm-hmm. I think he projects to be a guard. I think he's a good, solid athlete. I think he'll be a decent player. I like Aaron Banks from Notre Dame. I think he, again, is going to be a really good guard. I don't think he'll be a guard for sure. Out of the guys on my list here, I think he's maybe the best. And Robert Hainsey too from Notre Dame. I like Robert Hainsey. I think he's a guard. Again, I think he's another guy who played tackle at Notre Dame, projects to be a guard. Liam Leichenberg from Notre Dame. Notre Dame, the one position.
I was waiting for you to say Liam. I was like, when's he going to talk
about? I think everybody kind of knows Leichenberg. I think that they don't know the interior linemen quite as much. Tackles kind of stand out because they play tackle.
Correct.
I like Leichenberg. I think he'll be a right tackle, even though he played left tackle at Notre Dame. I think he projects better on the right side. I've seen a lot of mock drafts where Miami takes him in the second round. I would like that a lot. I think Miami, first and foremost, need better skill players, but they need to solidify the offensive line a little bit more too. So
I agree with that. And another name that you didn't mention, I really like Drake Jackson from where am I? Oh, so yeah, I'm sorry, Kentucky. He's probably gonna play guard. I really like him. He's underrated. I think he just got added not too long ago, so that's probably why you didn't see him, Ray. But what do you think about Drake Jackson from Kentucky?
I like him. I think like you said, I think he'll play guard.
Yeah, I think he played all three positions, so I'm not mistaken. I think he played
all three. I think most of these guys will like rotate in like different positions. I mean, like there's a lot of offensive line, like a lot of quality offensive linemen in this draft. So that's
right.
Yeah, I like the offensive line, and I think and again, like I tell people all the time, like some people don't think offensive linemen are sexy picks, and I know they're not. But you know what? If you don't draft at least one quality offensive lineman every year, you're not doing your homework.
I agree.
Because offensive linemen, like defensive linemen, are where you win and lose games.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have depth there, which well, you're an offensive lineman the last couple of years, you know what you was. If you don't have depth at offensive line, dude, you are done. So it's that simple.
I agree, and that's why somebody like Drake Jackson stands out to versatility, and but like you say, right, this is probably one of the best Senior Bowl lineman groups I've ever seen, and at the Senior Bowl, they are deep. There are a lot of versatility that's in there. Got some big names, so that's very, very exciting to me. So, but from the offensive linemen, let's go to the guys that's going to be opposite of them, the defensive line. So, Ray, you got a couple of guys that you like to highlight in there?
Yeah, well, of course, we've talked over and over again, Carlos Basham. I think he's an edge guy who has some nice juice, who is going to be a nice player. Mm-hmm. I like Jaylen Hayes from Notre Dame, a guy who can do a lot of different things. I think that at Notre Dame, he played defensive end. I think he'll be a defensive end. I think he's a 3-tech as a defensive end or a 5-tech where he can play on the outside, setting the edge, get some pass rush ability to him, but more of a good run player who will play probably well on first and second down if nothing else. And then maybe you can move him inside and let him use his pass rushing ability from inside there. Let me think here. I'm trying to think of anybody else that really stands out. Oh, Malik Herring from Georgia, another kid who probably is going to – people are going to think he should probably play end, and maybe he can do some things on first and second down as a run player. But I think where he's going to earn his money is moving inside on pass and rushing and then get to the quarterback on third down, especially right away. So
Definitely. You mentioned Carlos Basham in the beginning. Carlos Basham was one of the guys that, depending on your scheme, you can put him in inside and outside at times. And I think that you'll like that, put him in inside on pass rush situations and let him go against those guards and things like that. One of the guys that I wanted to point out is Tehran Jackson from Coastal Carolina. He was the catalyst of that Coastal Carolina defense. If you guys don't know who Coastal Carolina is, y'all been sleeping. They've been rocking it this year. Unfortunately, they did lose their last game of the season. They're in the bowl game, but this is one of the up and rising teams. I mean, they've been going up the ranks. I think the highest rank they had was 12, I believe. Their defense been really holding down that team, and he been one of those guys that been a catalyst for them, getting sacks each and every day, each and every week, disrupting the quarterback. So he's one of the guys that I'm definitely looking into, talking to again, because we were able to talk to him in interview fashion. So if you haven't seen that, check that out on our website, also on YouTube. But anybody else from that group, Ryan?
There's a bunch of guys we really didn't. Quincy Rochet has some nice versatile, like some nice game film. I mean, Miami struggled this year. They did. So I think a lot of people are like sleeping on their defense because they struggled down the stretch a little bit. Cameron Sample from Tulane, I like. I think that he's a kid that can do some stuff, can probably play first and second down, maybe rush a quarterback from the inside a little bit on third downs. I like Cameron Sample. I think he's a nice player. I think Ellerson Smith from Northern Iowa. Again, I think he's an edge guy, an outside. Maybe I wouldn't say you can play him at off, but you can't play him at linebacker. But if you play him in a 3-4 as an outside pass rusher, I think he could do some nice things for you. Shaka Toney from Penn State, the same thing. Yeah. Can do some nice things as a pass rusher from the outside for you. I like him a lot. Marlon, this name is going to kill me here. Tuipulotu from USC. He's a 2-gap end in a 3-4. I think he's going to be a really nice, versatile type player. I don't know if any of these guys are primo pass rushers, though. I think that out of these, I think Rochet probably has the best game film as a guy who can get to the quarterback. I don't know if any of these guys that I see here are going to be. I like Malcolm Kuntz from Buffalo. I think he can give you some juice as a pass rusher, but I don't see any of these guys being elite pass rushers. So
Great. You got some guys that, I mean, I think honestly this might be the weaker defensive end class in the draft. So, but you got some guys that you can bring in there just to fill into some spots. Some rotational guys that that can work out for you. So going from defensive ends and edge rushers, we're gonna go into linebackers. So what's some linebackers that catch your eye, Ray?
Let me get my list here, man.
By the way, I think the linebacker class is a little underrated.
I think that what it is. There's no one sexy, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of players.
I see a bunch of guys that I think will be good, solid football players, but I don't see anybody who's going to be special. So I'll leave it at that. So, I mean, let me think. I like Tony Fields from West Virginia. I think he's a good athletic guy. I think where he's going to earn a living though, and the next level is on special teams. I think that Aaron Hainsford from Texas A&M offers you some nice juice in there as a linebacker. Again, a guy who will play on the inside a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, I think he's an inside linebacker. I think Patty Fisher, who I know you like, is a nice, solid football player as an interior guy. Probably a 2-down linebacker, at the next level, but a nice player, very productive. I mean, the production is crazy for him. So actually, for the last 2 years, it's been really crazy for him. So yeah, I like Jabril Cox from from LSU. I think he's a nice player. I think as an outside guy, he could probably do some things. I think I don't know if he's a little light in the shorts, as they say. He's only about 230, 235. Probably needs to get closer to 240, 245 to really be at his best, but I think he's a nice player. Let me think.
You think about Monte Rice, right?
Monte Rice.
Is it Monte or Monte?
Monte.
Is it Monte?
Monte Rice. I think he's a nice player. Again, not a special athlete though. Just a good solid athlete, so
definitely. And then we got Turf Berlin from Ohio State. He's probably, they got 3 linebackers coming out from Ohio State, but he's probably the highlighted name that most people will know. What do you think about him, Ray?
I think he's a good player. I think, again, he's a 2-down linebacker at the next level. I don't think there's anybody special in this class. I think they're all good, solid football players. I like Tough Borland also from Ohio State. I think he's a nice little player. But I think that you saw during the playoff game that, yes, they're good football players, but they all need to get a little bit stronger. You know what I mean? So I think that, again, I like KJ Britt from Auburn. I think he's a nice linebacker. I think he's a chase down from the backside type of a backer. I like him maybe as much as any of these guys. A guy who I think is the best
one down there. He might be the best one down there.
Yeah. Sleeper guy, I like Rodney Cole from South Alabama. Again, he's a guy who played on the inside, but is only 225 pounds. I think if you get him at 235, you're going to get yourself a nice player, and he's a guy who's very active, nice hand usage. He gets off blocks pretty well. I like him a lot as a guy who, again, went to a smaller school. I think I talked to Hamaclair Rashad from Oregon State, another guy who's a little small but played outside at 250. When I say small, I mean he's 6'3", but I'm not sure he's 6'3", really. He looks more like 6'1.5", maybe 6'2". We'll see. I mean, but I think he's a nice player. He's another guy who's really active from Oregon State. I mean, I like him. I like a lot of these linebackers. I just don't. Again, I don't think any of them are special, dude.
Exactly.
Like, I don't see any Luke Kuechly's here.
No.
I don't see anybody like that, dude. So
definitely. To go back on your point about me liking Patty Fisher, he's one of those linebackers that I fall in love with down the Senior Bowl, and I think he's going to be one of those guys that really shows up because he's got really good instincts. He's sideline to sideline. He's not the fastest guy. He's not the most athletic guy, like Ray always say. But I like those linebackers that are not always the most athletic ones, but like they play hard. They'll always be around the ball. You see them all the time. He's one of those guys that stuck out to me on film because obviously, Michigan fan. So he turns up my team. So when I see that, I'm like, oh, all right, who's this kid that keeps popping up on the screen on my against my team? And Patty Fisher been terrorizing the league for 2 years now. He has incredible numbers, like Ray says. So he's one of my darling in my eyes, as you may say.
I agree with you. I think he's a good football player. I think as a 2-down linebacker would be good. I think, honestly, about everybody we've talked to about today, they better be willing to play on special teams, though, because that's where they're really going to earn their money at. So
definitely. All right, and let's get to our last group of players. We got our DBs and safeties. Anybody? I mean, this is my favorite spot. I can talk about almost everybody on here, Ray. But is there anybody that specifically sticks out to you?
Yeah. Cornerback. Come on, man. I like some of these guys, man. I'm not a big guy for defensive backs, man. I think that I value safeties more than corners, but that's just me, man. I mean, I like Joshua Bledsoe from Missouri. I think he's a nice player. I think he's a versatile safety who can cover a little bit, who can come in. Not a great run defender, though. This is my problem with defensive backs. Either they're good cover guys or they're good tacklers. The really special guys are guys that are good at both. And I don't know if I have too many of them guys in this draft, to be honest with you. I like Castro Fields, Tariq Castro Fields from Penn State. I think he's a good versatile player. I think he can. He plays some corner. I can see him playing some nice free safety for somebody down the road. I like Richard Lecount from Georgia, the safety from Georgia. Again, I am a guy who likes safeties, who values safeties over corners, only because corners have the sidelines, man. Like if you play guys to the sidelines, you can get away with being okay. If you're a safety and you can't play, dude, you're either going to get killed in the run game or you're going to get killed over the top of the passing game. Yeah. So I value safeties more than corners. But again, I'm not criticizing the corner position. I think that you need to have depth at cornerback. I don't know if you need to have the primo athletes that most people talk about because, again, corners are the one position where guys don't like to tackle a lot of times, and that bothers me. So,
Right. I definitely agree with that. So yeah, you have your top 2 or 3 guys that's going to be in the draft, and then it's kind of a drop off in my opinion. But I do like some of these guys that are going to be there that are solid guys. Ambry Thompson from Michigan. Obviously, I want to see how he does. Thomas Graham. I think he's a little slim, but I think he's one of those guys that will definitely play well. And we got our first comment here to say Cisco from Syracuse. Cisco from Syracuse. If you don't know, Andrew Cisco from Syracuse. He will not be at the Senior Bowl that I know of.
That's why we haven't talked about him. Yeah. I like Andrew Cisco. I think he's a good football player.
I do too.
But he's not going to partake in the Senior Bowl. So,
yeah. But his counterpart is going to be there. I feed to Melifontu. However you say his name. I recognize him because his brother. Melifonwu. Okay.
He is a guy who actually, I think he's a good football player too, but I think he's going to be a guy who is he a hybrid safety? Are you going to bring him down and let him play a little linebacker for you? But that's not a bad thing in today's NFL.
Yeah, you're right.
Them guys are valued, absolutely.
Have the same
I like him too.
Same issues as his brother. His brother got drafted by the Patriots, I believe.
Yes.
To play safe. He played safety for a little bit, and I think they was trying him out at corner. I think he's going to have the same issues there's no clear-cut position for him, so you're going to have to try him out in different spots. So a place like New England who's used to moving guys around and putting them in a different position would be great for him. But I think he's going to be a little bit better than his brother, but I think they're going to be very similar. Very athletic guys with no real position.
I think that what you're going to see is if there's no combine, and if Fonwu goes in there or Melifonwu goes in there and he has long arms, people will really value him. But if they find out that his arms are a little shorter, they'll be like, what am I going to do with a guy with short arms?
Yeah.
Who wants to play who wants to play if you're going, he's listed as a cornerback. But if he's going to play corner, he's got to play press corner, or he's going to have to be a safety. A lot of that is going to depend on his measurables. So definitely. We'll see.
Definitely. Another guy that intrigues me is Rashard Lecount from Georgia. He came in with a lot of praise going toward him, and I think it died down a little bit this year. I believe he was injured a little bit too. So I think this really – go ahead, Ray.
He was hurt a little bit this year, but I like Richard Lecount. I think that coming into this year, he was probably right as one of the top 5 safeties in college football. But again, Georgia had a good year, but not a great year. So,
I think that, with that, it kind of made him fall off a little bit. And teams, maybe not teams, but people got off his bandwagon a little bit. So we'll see how that goes. A guy that I'm hearing a lot of chatter out of is Brian Mills from North Carolina Central. He might be this year's who was it? The guy from last year that was at the Senior Bowl. We interviewed him. Man, I can't believe I'm thinking on his name.
Oh my god, dude.
Blanking on his name.
Yeah, me too.
I was thinking that's Nasir Ali. Shoot. But anyway, he's one of the small school DBs that not a lot of people know about, but he's gonna come in and I think he's gonna test well, right? I think he's gonna do really well and shine and get to that second round.
To the Panthers, right?
Oh, yeah. See, I'm blanking on his name.
I'm horrible with names too, man.
But yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be one of those small school guys that's just going to come in. I hear his name bounce around. I'm very intrigued by him. I want to see how he does. What do you think about Brian Mills, Ray?
I like him a lot, and he has nice size. He's like 6'1.5". Mm-hmm. He's like 185, 190. Jeremy Chin, exactly. That's the guy, right? So again, I think he's a guy where if he comes in and he has like fairly long arms, or he's going to be a guy that kind of climbs up the draft board. If I hate the thought of not having combines or pro days this year, man, but it looks like it may happen. So we'll see. I think what we're going to see more than anything else is we had the combine last year, but we didn't have pro days. And most teams, especially in the earlier rounds, stuck to the Power 5 conference players.
Oh, they really did.
Except for a couple guys like Jeremy Chin, and even him. Some people thought that if he'd had a pro day, he'd have been like a early second round. And he kind of fell a little bit. And that was why, because there was like teams stuck to the Power 5 players. And I think that Brian Mills will be one of them guys that gets hurt if there are no pro days this year. So
I totally agree, Ray. Ray, you wanna give some kickers some love, man? You wanna talk about some kickers or no, not really?
Yeah, I'll go shake a tree, man, and see what one falls out of it. Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody who doesn't know my theory on kickers, right? Kickers in the NFL are like relief pitchers in baseball.
Yeah.
They're good until they're not any good anymore. Then you find another one.
Yeah.
Okay. Line up 5 soccer players. Whoever kicks the longest field goal, that's my kicker this week. Okay.
Remember Greg DeLay for the Rams, and I thought, man, I was like, oh yeah, he's gonna stay with the Rams. He's gonna be so good. All of a sudden, he got cut. I'm like, what? So,
and then this year he went somewhere else. He had a really good year.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like, sometimes they need that failure and then reestablish themselves.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to talk about Miami's kicker because Miami has a really good kicker, but as soon as he starts missing them, he's yesterday's news, man. Okay.
I agree. Well, that's gonna do it for us today, guys. So we're gonna be down at Mobile next week, so we will not have a RPO podcast next week. But if you check us out, we will have live Senior Bowl coverage. So make sure you check us out. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And if you are on YouTube, please make sure you like these videos and subscribe. That just helps us get us in that algorithm, make people see who we are. We will have live coverage from the Senior Bowl. So please make sure you check that out. We're going to be there next week. Cannot wait. So we won't have a podcast next week. So make sure you check us out. In 2 weeks, we will be back, Ray. We will miss you. I'm sorry you couldn't go down this year, but hopefully next year you come down with us to the Senior Bowl as well. But that's going to do it for us today, guys. I'm your humble host, Jerome Jones. We got my man Ray Roberts in the building. Thank y'all so much for checking us out. And we see you next week on the Senior Bowl coverage. Thank you so much. Have a great night.